Бурлаки, очередная метка.
Бурлаки, the next time tag is maneuver at 12:58:19.
Да, подтверждаю, метка.
We confirm. So the time is 12:58:19. The SKD minus 8 minutes in the next time tag. What about the cameras, Burlak? Are they working? Yes, they are working.
Принято.
Copy. Both cameras are shooting video. Copy. Great.
We're inside 12 minutes now until the deorbit burn that will begin the journey home for Nick Hague, Alexei Ovchinin, and Hazan Ali Al-Mansouri. All Soyuz systems in excellent shape. The Russian mission control team in Korolyov at the ready, along with the search and recovery forces who are standing by, having boarded helicopters at the airfield in Jettisoning, which is about 92 miles to the northwest of the landing site in south-central Kazakhstan. The weather at the landing site just couldn't be better for a late afternoon touchdown on this early fall day. Just a few clouds reported, almost clear, pristine skies. Light winds, temperatures in the low 60s Fahrenheit. The touchdown, which is expected just a few seconds before 6 a.m. Central Time, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Kazakhstan time, is taking place about an hour and 58 minutes before sunset. And the reports now from the airfield in Jettisoning indicate that the first of the search and recovery helicopters with NASA personnel on board are airborne now, heading towards the landing site.
$10
10 minutes till the ignition.
Just inside 10 minutes until the start of the deorbit burn, a 4-minute, 42-second engine firing. You will hear Ovchinin call out chamber pressure and duration of burn to the Russian flight controllers who are monitoring their telemetry in Korolyov.
Минута до метки ТСКД -8.
1 minute until time tag SKD time -8.
12:50:22. Maneuver LED illumination time. Copy. Nick, please check T3 command. Send in T3 command. Copy. Command has been sent. I confirm S9 command.
Aboard the Soyuz MS-12 in the center seat of the descent module, Soyuz Commander Alexei Ovchinin checking his systems, relaying data back to the Russian flight control team in Korolyov as we are approaching the 7-minute mark until the start of the deorbit burn.
And you should be at sunrise now. Please monitor via VSK periscope. No, we're still at sunset and just moving towards sunrise now. Nick, please send J3. I confirm GSO 1 and 2 combined GSO in attitude command. Copy.
Six minutes now until the start of the deorbit burn that will bring home Nick Hague, Alexei Ovchinin, and Hazan Ali Al-Mansouri. Helicopters now airborne from the airfield in Jezkazgan for about a 35-minute flight to the landing site, where they will be deployed in a racetrack fashion, an oval-shaped fashion. The 12 prime helicopters, one by one, awaiting the arrival of the Soyuz MS-12 under its parachute. The Soyuz MS-12 and the International Space Station now crossing the southwest coast of South America, soon to begin a southwest and northeasterly track across the Atlantic towards the west coast of Africa.
Ignition. And please provide very detailed running commentary. And please provide data regarding the time and Delta V. This is Burlock 1. I copy all.
Coming up on the 3-minute mark until the deorbit burn, Alexei Ovchinin will be reporting duration of the burn as it continues for 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Delta velocity, meaning a change in velocity, the The deorbit burn is designed to slow the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second in this braking maneuver that will enable it to drop out of orbit. He'll also be reporting chamber pressure as the fuel tanks are depleted.
Two minutes to escadem.
This view from a camera on the International Space Station actually showing the Soyuz MS-12 at a distance of some 62 miles away from the International Space Station, as we are coming up on the 90-second mark until the start of the deorbit burn.
Moscow, this is Burlock 1. And visually, I can confirm the attitude. Attitude is fine, and I see the Earth limb and GSO, combined GSO in attitude. Command is confirmed. Copy.
Russian flight controllers reporting that the Soyuz is in the proper attitude for the start of the deorbit burn 1 minute from now.
Stabilization mode setup is confirmed. SG indication confirmed. Copy. Copy. A1 is confirmed. SKD cover is open. Copy.
30 seconds away from the deorbit burn, Russian search and recovery helicopters with NASA personnel on board are airborne, heading for the landing site to the southeast of Jettisoning as we stand by for the start of the ignition of the Soyuz engine.
Copy.
Inside 10 seconds.
I
I confirm SKD main engine activation. Copy.
And the deorbit burn is underway.
For 15 seconds, we've completed 5.5 meters per second, and 0.5 is the acceleration value. Copy. 30 seconds, 12 meters, 0.44. This is the acceleration value. Copy. 45 seconds, delta V 19.2, acceleration 0.44. Copy.
1 minute into the burn, everything looking good.
1 minute, 26.1 meters per second, 0.44. This is the acceleration value. Credible parameters are nominal. Copy.
So far, so good. The change in velocity right on the money.
32.7 meters per second, 0.45. Credible parameters nominal. Copy. 1 minute 30 seconds, 39.3 meters per second, 0.44. This is the acceleration. Copy. 1 minute 45 seconds, 46 meters. Acceleration is at 0.45. Copy.
Отработали
2 minutes,
53,1.
53.1 meters per second. Acceleration is at 0.45.
Принято.
Copy.
Отработали
The duration 2 minutes, 15 seconds, 59.5 meters.
Параметр
Acceleration is at 0.45. KDU parameters are nominal. Copy.
Halfway through the burn, everything looking good.
2.5 minutes, 67 meters. Acceleration 0.45. KDU parameters are nominal. Copy.
Прошли метку Дельта В спусковой 1.
And we have passed the time tag.
Отработали 80
3 minutes,
метров в секунду.
80.7 meters per second. Acceleration is at 0.46.
The Soyuz vehicle now committed to deorbit.
3 minutes, 15 seconds,
87
87 meters. Acceleration 0.46. KDU parameters are nominal.
Принято.
Copy.
За 3,5 минуты.
3.5 minutes, 94.5 meters per second. Acceleration is at 0.46.
Принято.
Copy.
За 3,45.
3 minutes, 45 seconds.
Less than 1 minute to go for the deorbit burn, everything looking good.
Is 0.47. KDU parameters are nominal. Copy.
Отработали 4
4 minutes. Burn duration of 4 minutes.
метров в секунду.
8.8 meters per second. Acceleration
Принято.
is 0.47.
Отработали 4 минуты 15 секунд.
4 minutes, 15 seconds. 14.3 meters per second. Acceleration 0.47. KDU parameters are nominal. Copy.
About 20 seconds to go, standing by for engine shutdown.
Отработали 4,5 минуты.
4.5 minutes, 1 to 1.9 meters per second. Acceleration is 0.47. Standing by for cutoff command. GK command has been executed at 13:11:03. Copy.
And the deorbit burn is complete and nominal. A perfect deorbit burn. Nick Hague and Alexei Ovchinin heading home, completing an odyssey that began almost a year ago with a launch aboard from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, culminating with a 203-day mission on board the orbital outpost at the International Space Station. Hazza Ali Al-Mansouri completing a pathfinding mission for the United Arab Emirates. Touchdown in Kazakhstan on a desolate steppe to the southeast of the town of Jettisoning, now 48 minutes from now.
Давление ВСА.
What about SA pressure?
Давление высоты
The SA pressure is stable at 769. Copy.
769.
769.
перешли на 50.
We have switched to page 56.
Принято.
Copy.
Не позднее метки 13.
No later than 13:28:12. Helmets will be sealed and the KSS
Верно, подтверждаем.
rescue aids system will be activated. Yes, that's affirmative.
Continuing to receive views from truss cameras on the International Space Station of the Soyuz MS-12. The deorbit burn was perfectly normal. The crew heading home, soon to drop out of orbit for its high-speed entry back into the Earth's atmosphere. The upper portion of the vehicle, the orbital module, that's the bulbous section at the very top of the Soyuz, has been depressurized, setting the stage for the pyrotechnic separation of the three sections of the Soyuz coming up at 5:34 a.m. Central Time.
Your harness belt, copy. Not right now, but once you start feeling the G-load.
At the landing site, preparations are underway for the arrival of the Soyuz MS-12 and the three crew members. There are a dozen Russian Mi-8 helicopters, part of the Rosaviat's search and recovery forces with NASA personnel on board that are airborne, having taken off several minutes ago from the airfield in Jettisoning for the landing site, some 92 miles to the southeast of Jettisoning. And as mentioned earlier, an Antonov fixed-wing aircraft will be serving as a flying command and control vehicle, basically a command and control relay center that will enable voice and telemetry from the Soyuz to be relayed to the Russian flight control team that you see there in the Russian flight control room in Korolyov.
Hazan, we're going to fly over the Emirates again. That's right.
Alexei Ovchinin on board the Soyuz telling Hazza Ali Al-Mansouri of the United Arab Emirates, who's seated to his right as board engineer number 2, that the Soyuz will be flying almost directly over the United Arab Emirates on this final path that will take the Soyuz to its landing site in Kazakhstan. Touchdown expected about 42 minutes from now. Module separation about 17 minutes from now. This is Mission Control Houston. Just to recap, the Soyuz MS-12 is in the process of departing from its orbit, having completed a 4-minute, 42-second deorbit burn, a retrograde firing of its main engine to slow its velocity down to the point where the tug of Earth's gravity will pull it back into the Earth's atmosphere. Touchdown is expected just under 40 minutes from now at a landing site to the southeast of Jettisoning on a remote steppe, a desolate area of Kazakhstan, where Soyuz vehicles will typically land these days. The Russian search and recovery forces are fanned out across the area. Russian Mi-8 helicopters are airborne, headed for the landing site. Russian personnel, some of which are already in the vicinity of the landing site, poised for the arrival of the Soyuz vehicle under its main parachute, and the touchdown and the end of this mission for Alexei Ovchinin, Nick Hague, and Hazza Ali Al-Mansouri. Expedition 61 underway aboard the International Space Station under the command of European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano, joined by Russian cosmonauts Alexander Skvortsov and Alex Skripochka, and NASA astronauts Drew Morgan, Jessica Meir, and Christina Cook. This is about the point where the Soyuz is too far away from the International Space Station for the geometry of antennas on the vehicles to maintain VHF voice communications. This is totally expected and is common for a Soyuz descent, where communications may be lost altogether or at very best would become choppy until it approaches the landing site and reestablishes communications through the Antonov command and control flying aircraft. This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, the Soyuz MS-12 is about to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere following its deorbit burn to enable it to drop out of orbit for its high-speed return back to Earth. The next major event is the pyrotechnic separation of the 3 sections of the Soyuz, scheduled at 5:34 a.m. Central Time. That will be followed just 4 minutes later by the vehicle entering into the plasma regime, in which temperatures around the Soyuz will build to about 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Its heat shield ablating and repelling that buildup of plasma around the vehicle. As we've mentioned several times before, but it's worth mentioning again, this is the point at which communications are either choppy or lost altogether because of the distance of the Soyuz from the International Space Station, where communications antennas no longer can relay voice or telemetry for a period of time. This plasma regime that will begin about 5:38 a.m. Central Time will last for about 5 minutes before the Soyuz.
Remaining until separation. Moscow did not copy your last. Could you please repeat your last? 10 minutes remaining until separation. copy and confirm.
And there we have communications again with the Soyuz as Alexei Ovchinin looks at the timers on his telemetry display in the Soyuz in the descent module. About 10 minutes away from module separation, he confirmed. Once the vehicle exits the plasma regime at about 5:43 a.m. Central Time, we at that point will be about 2 minutes away from the command to open up parachutes.
6 minutes to module separation. You have to put KSS rescue aids in active mode and standby mode, and please depress push-to-talk buttons and transmit button. And please provide running commentary by pressing push-to-talk button without holding it down. So the helmets now, yes. Okay, it's still that for FE1, this is Hazan. My helmet is also closed. Copy. Okay.
This is Mission Control Houston, some 31 minutes away from the expected touchdown of the Soyuz MS-12 on the south central steppe of Kazakhstan.
Moscow, this is Burlak 1. We copy you loud and clear. The helmets are closed. The KSS rescue aids are activated, and the push-to-talk button is released. And we are standing by for the time 13:31:12. It's separation time minus 3 minutes. Copy. Buрлаки, around 13:43, there might be VHF pass com via our stations, and after the plasma re-entry, after the plasma exit at 13:43. How copy?
Вас приняли, 13:40.
13:43, we might have com at this time. That's affirmed.
Bonus communications between the Russian flight controllers in Korolyov and Alexei Ovchinin on board the Soyuz MS-12. We're about 4 minutes away from the anticipated pyrotechnic separation of the three sections of the Soyuz vehicle.
Via VSK, what is your evaluation? It's complicated. The angle is 180 and 0. Copy.
Less than 3 minutes away from the anticipated separation of the three sections of the Soyuz vehicle. That will leave the descent module with the crew strapped in their seats on board, with the heat shield facing the direction of travel to repel temperatures that will build up shortly to about 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit as they enter into the so-called plasma regime.
Buрлаки, would you please confirm that the separation program has started? Yes, we confirm, and we also have controlled descent. Copy. Buрлаки, 1 minute until separation.
Just over 26 minutes until landing. Everything continuing to go by the book as we stand by for confirmation of module separation.
30 seconds until separation. Buрлаки, this is Moscow. Inaudible. 10 seconds until separation.
Russian flight controllers confirming a good module separation right on time, 25 minutes until touchdown. All the milestones for the Soyuz's entry back to Earth continuing to tick off in trip hammer fashion, everything looking good. Vehicle systems reported to be in excellent shape.
Бурлаки до входа в атмосферу 2 минуты.
Buрлаки, 2 minutes until the re-entry.
The continuing communications with the crew, which we received in serendipitous fashion, about to be lost as they enter into the plasma regime, where the buildup of heat around the vehicle likely will prevent communications for several minutes until they exit that period of the entry prior to the command to deploy the parachutes. The chute deployment sequence, 2 pilot parachutes are first deployed, the second of which extracts the drogue chute. The drogue chute, once it is released, it measures 24 square meters, slowing the Soyuz down from a descent rate of 230 meters per second to just 80 meters per second. That in turn will release the main parachute covering an area of 1,000 meters. It's a huge parachute, slowing the Soyuz to a descent rate of 7.2 meters per second. The harnesses attached with the Soyuz first allow the Soyuz to descend at an angle of about 30 degrees to expel residual heat from its journey through the plasma regime, then shifts the Soyuz to a straight vertical descent to enable the altimeter on the heat shield that will be jettisoned to pick up rate of descent and distance to the ground for the computers to have its information updated for the soft landing engines to be fired.
Inaudible.
The Soyuz now in the plasma regime. Once again, this is where a controlled entry guidance begins, also the time in which the temperature around the Soyuz builds, with the heat being ablated by the heat shield at the bottom of the spacecraft. The descent module, Alexei Ovchinin, the Soyuz commander, in the center seat, flanked to his left by NASA astronaut Nick Hague, to his right by Hazza Ali Al-Mansouri. the visiting astronaut from the United Arab Emirates. The Russian Mi-8 helicopters, part of the search and recovery forces, now in the vicinity of the landing site, beginning a pattern of an oval-shaped circular pattern of flight around the expected trajectory of the Soyuz under its main parachute once it's deployed. The Soyuz continues to barrel its way toward the landing site. We are about 4 minutes away from the expected deployment of the parachutes. "17 minutes until touchdown. Again, we are in a period of a loss of communications with the Soyuz vehicle. Once it exits the plasma regime, communications should be restored through the Antonov fixed-wing aircraft that's operating as a flying command and control center, relaying information, data, and voice back to the Russian mission control team in Korolyov. You see that team gathered at their consoles from this balcony camera.
So how do you copy us? G-load 428. The integral is plus 13 over the curve. Copy, Burlaki. So what is the miss? 1 second. And what about SR pressure? 770. How are you feeling, guys? We are feeling well. Copy.
Communications restored with the Soyuz MS-12 almost to the second, and again that familiar beacon that's sending signals to the search and recovery forces at the landing site.
What was maximum G-load? 4.3. Copy. The maximum G-load was 4.3. We confirm. Standing by for the OSP deploy, parachute deploy. So we are entering the atmosphere. We can feel that.
That call from Alexei Ovchinin aboard the Soyuz MS-12 indicating that the crew is now feeling the tug of gravity. For Ovchinin and Nick Hague, their first sensation of gravity in 203 days. Soyuz heading toward the landing site under controlled entry. The crew reported pulling a maximum of 4.5 Gs.
Unintelligible.
And there's our first view of the Soyuz MS-12 under its main parachute. The venting that you're seeing, valves have been opened to vent hydrogen peroxide fuel for the entry control thrusters and oxygen in the life support system tank. This is a combination of hydrogen peroxide and oxygen escaping into the atmosphere to safe the Soyuz spacecraft for landing so that no hazardous gases remain in the vehicle's tanks when the soft landing engines fire a few seconds before touchdown. This is a normal occurrence at an altitude of some 18,000 feet. A cloudless day over south-central Kazakhstan to greet Nick Hague, Alexei Ovchinin, and Hazza Ali Al-Mansouri. Russian Mi-8 helicopters, part of the Rosaviatsa search and recovery forces, are also circling the area around the Soyuz spacecraft. A good view of the Soyuz again, and there's the jettisoning of the heat shield. This exposes the altimeter at the bottom of the Soyuz descent module to calculate rate of descent and distance from the ground to update the Soyuz's computers for the firing of the soft landing engines just a couple of seconds before touchdown. Inside 10 minutes until touchdown, a great view of the Soyuz MS-12 from cameras at the landing site about 92 miles to the southeast of the town of Jettisoning. Everything has proceeded in perfect fashion for Haig, Ovchinin, and Al-Mansouri, who are just minutes away from completing their respective missions.
Unintelligible.
About 8 minutes until touchdown, everything proceeding normally. The crew reporting it is in good shape. All of the events have unfolded in perfect fashion so far. Less than 6 minutes until touchdown. Everything is in great shape as you continue to watch the Soyuz descend under its main parachute, heading for the landing site in south-central Kazakhstan, where the search and recovery forces are standing by to approach the vehicle after touchdown. They'll safe the vehicle and then begin the process of extracting the crew. The search and recovery forces have established communications with the crew on board the Soyuz MS-12, and they report they are feeling well. 2.5 minutes till touchdown. You're watching the methodical descent of the Soyuz MS-12 under its main parachute on a cloudless day in south central Kazakhstan. Temperatures around 62 degrees Fahrenheit at the landing site.
Unintelligible.
Just a few minutes away from the end of the mission for Haig, Ovchinin, and Al-Mansouri. Haig and Ovchinin wrapping up a journey of 86.1 million miles. Al-Mansouri wrapping up a 3.3 million mile mission over 8 days. And you can see one of the Russian Mi-8 helicopters, so we are approaching the moment of touchdown. Touchdown, right on the money. At 5:59 a.m. Central Time, 6:59 a.m. Eastern Time, 4:59 p.m. at the landing site. The soft landing engines having fired, the main parachute now reefing. Nick Haig, Alexei Ovchinin, and Hazza Ali Al-Mansouri are home. Russian Mi-8 helicopters circling in the vicinity. They'll be landing in sequential fashion. A dozen prime helicopters at the landing site. It appeared to be a bullseye touchdown for the crew members on board the Soyuz MS-12. Again, touchdown at 5:59 a.m. Central Time, 6:59 a.m. Eastern Time. To recap, the Soyuz MS-12 is back on Earth with its crew of Nick Haig, Alexei Ovchinin, and Hazza Ali Al-Mansouri. Haig and Ovchinin wrapping up 203 days in space and aboard the International Space Station. Mansouri's 8-day mission at an end for the United Arab Emirates. Russian search and recovery helicopters are landing now in sequential fashion in the vicinity of the spacecraft. The first team of technical specialists will be safing the spacecraft and beginning the process of extracting the crew. This is Mission Control Houston. This view of the flight control room at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside of Moscow. The live television views that you've been enjoying watching the Soyuz MS-12 descend to its landing under its main parachute will be regaining a television view once the all-terrain vehicles that house the television equipment and the uplink satellite dish reposition themselves right at